So the first player in our second to last batch of resume reviews for the 2019 season of Melee is Free Palestine. He used to go by Millhouse. He is 4th on the Ohio PR, and we're going to scroll through all of his results, which there are actually surprisingly a decent amount here, to see if he has the quality wins to make the top 100 this year. So let's start from the beginning, look at the quality wins, quality losses, see what's going on. Starting off the year with a bang, a win over Westballs and Zeo. A really weird foursome of results, beating Westballs and Zeo and losing to Birdman and Axe, running it all the way back. So Birdman is a Champagne Sheik, but is also the tag of Diplomatic Toucan, who now also has Gamer as a Smash GG page. None of that really matters because it's still going to be highlighted and kind of viewed in the same way. Well, I mean, it definitely matters because we're getting a different perspective on the player and who they are. But I guess in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter too much, but let me replace that. So even after all the debacle finding out who Birdman actually is, I think this event is a great start to the year, generally pretty positive. Again, a weird combination of results, but still a good win for Free Palestine. Yeah, so we moved down to a close 2-0 where he got 4th, beating Polish and Crikey. I know that's not how it's pronounced, but I love saying that anyway. Crikey's a Marth from Pittsburgh, who I believe it was at the Big House or some other Midwest tournament where he got a really standout performance. I don't think any of these are really like highlight wins. I think this is really solid. Getting 4th and beating all these solid players within this general region is really good to see. And losing a lot in Dreffen, nothing too bad. Probably both top 50 players. I'm not 100% sure about Dreffen. Lod's on the ballot and Lod's incredible, so he's definitely going to make it up there despite being punished a little bit for inactivity, for being in med school. But still, like overall, a really positive tournament. Continuing down on to Mountain of Dreams, where he beat Silly Willy and lost to Boyd and Vintage. I do not have any information. Probably someone in the YouTube comments will be able to tell me who Vintage is, but by the fact that it's a little bit difficult to find them, we're going to mark that down as a red loss as well. Probably the first real event that I'd say is probably negative. We have like very strongly positive one here, and then slightly negative here. Supocalypse losing the Boyd and Polish again. I don't think either of those are highlight worthy. The Polish one is probably maybe more concerning. I'd hit it with like a light red with the caliber of losses we're highlighting this point. But again, I think that's an event we can kind of just generally scroll past. Moving down the Full Bloom 5, and I think it's pretty much the same thing we can say there. Grab isn't an outstanding win, and losing the SFAT and KGH, two incredible players. We can just keep on moving past that. And I think, again, the same case continuing down here to Fight Pit 9. Dawson win, a talented Philadelphia Puff player. Not really a notable win for the top 100. Joy Boy we could maybe highlight as a bad loss, potentially. Let me jump back to the Joy Boy resume real quick and see what I'd say about that. A contender just inside the top 100 range. I guess just to keep the Polish one in mind, I think I'm going to highlight that one as well, because if we're hitting it with the light green, we should also hit it with the light red when we see it on this side, and then also look for general trends against him as well. But that brings us to the National Melee Arcadium, which in retrospect, seeing all the players that I'm covering, and a lot of times I'll go to the results and I'll be like, they got like 13th, they got 25th at the National Melee Arcadian. Like, how did they do this? Like, what was going on? It was such a stacked event in retrospect. This is probably a positive event for him, kind of looking back, picking up a win over Bimbo. Bimbo, actually, we probably hit that with a blue one, because Bimbo was 30s, 39 at the summer PR, so that's a really dope win. That's crazy to think that he was eligible for the National Melee PR. Well, I guess like a little bit after that. And also he was eligible, and Bobby Big Balls was the one who ended up winning that. I would be curious to see who is the other loss Bimbo took here. But the two players he lost to, not the greatest things in the world, Voorhees and Zach Fair. Voorhees is a Fox / Ices from Indiana, and Zach Fair is an Ices from SoCal. So he potentially got double Ices IC'd out of the event. And then we should jump into his 33rd at Gamo, which is probably, I think, very easily his worst performance of the year, losing Dimension from Philly and Chillin' Dude from the rap game. Moving down to Hold That L3, picking up a win over the other K-Marth name, Koyashi from Michigan. Probably a good win. I think he's going to make the top 100 be right around here. Let me actually double check that he's on the ballot. I believe I have that saved. Koyashi is on the ballot. Losing to Michael, no big deal at all. Just Joe. Chicago, 13th best there. Yeah, I'm going to hit that with probably like a light red. But moving on to the next event, picking up wins over Vista, Shabo, Travioli, and Grab. A bunch of good players from around the region. For a refresher on who they are, Vista's a Falcon from Missouri. Grab is a Marth from Tennessee, who Zetz was saying is on the come up. Shabo is the #1 Fox in Champaign, who I think Zamo is going to pass him on the next PR. I don't know which out of these I'd say are highlight worthy. I don't think any of them really are highlight worthy. I don't think any of these players are going to be on the ballot. These are all probably names that are, or most of them probably names just like right outside the ballot, or as Zetz was saying, that Grab is on the come up. Not quite there, highlight level worthy. I'd say like generally a good event, showing that he's pretty strong against all these players in the region that he could potentially be losing to, and kind of has lost to in these earlier events, and losing to Magi and Dreffin, both talented players. Dreffin is probably top 50. Magi is probably like right outside the top 50 for the year. Continuing down to second at Replay FX, taking a win over Kangas Connor, who I believe is a Pittsburgh player. Kangas Connor, Icy's player from Pittsburgh, being double eliminated by Lod. I think this is another, just more shows consistency, or would show consistency a little bit more if that kind of passed through all the events. We're seeing intermittent consistency, really. And then continuing on down to Show Me Your Moves 20, went over Rick's, pretty cool. Moving down to Smash Camp, not nearly as explosive as his last one, and because Shithid is around this range in the top 100, like one of those new bout peoples, I'll hit this with a red. This is probably, if there was a lighter shade of red than the light red I've been using, I would hit Shithid with that, but not for this one. And then we can move down to, I'll restart. Oh, cool. Oh, you found a couple more tournaments. More wins over Rick. Okay, so we can just see like a general idea that he beats Rick a bunch from that. And from this, losing to Lod again and beating a lot of these Pittsburgh players. Kangas Connor, Lod. Ooh, a Lod win. Was that Lod playing his primaries? No, Lod Fox. Okay, yeah, so no dice on that one. Still, Lod has got the strong record. Picking up a game school, though, but no dice on that. Not really perspective-changing events, more adding to the story that we're kind of already able to build with the results we have. Big House 9, picking up wins over Bananas and Two State. Absolutely incredible. Less than a bang losing to Null. I guess we'd hit that with a red highlight. Based on how all over the place Noel's year has been. Now that brings us to the final question, however. Will Free Palestine make the top 100? I don't really see a trend coming through here. Through all of his results. The only trend I guess I could say, and it's not a great trend, is that there's a lot of inconsistency littered in here. The peaks are really high for Free Palestine, the West Balls wins, the Bananas, the Two Saints wins. You can obviously tell that Free Palestine is able to beat these top players, but also the floor, it's not as low as some of the players we've looked at this year. With the West Balls, Bananas, Two Saint, like that is your top wins, as well as having a Bimbo win. I didn't even, West Balls, Bimbo, Bananas, Two Saint, Rick, and a lot of wins are players around the like right outside the ballot range. It's a really good resume. It's hard to ignore those peaks, but again, it's also hard to ignore these lower ends, especially like the Dimension Chill and dudes like that really bad event at Gommel. Looking at these results, I'm not willing to bet on Free Palestine to be someone who like jumps a significant amount of ranks next year or maintains the rank he gets. I don't think that's anything against him. I think he definitely could do that. It's just this resume doesn't tell a consistent story, or doesn't show us a story of improvement. Not, again, that Free Palestine isn't improving. It's just we're not seeing any sort of story come through in the results, if that makes a lot of sense. The results are definitely impressive than this year. If we're looking from like last year to this year, it's definitely a jump in improvement. But for the range I'd see Free Palestine at, what kind of resumes go there? Probably like 75 to 90. Yeah, but I think with that wraps up our discussion of Free Palestine. Again,